Now you'll notice something a little bit strange is that every time we run this application from scratch, in the beginning, even though we have passed the city, nothing really happens, right? There's this comma there, which is uneventful and ugly, really. Spokane is there. We know that we've added the default city, but really it's not until we hit enter that we actually see something. There's something we can do about that, meaning the moment the app is run, we can actually go and fetch the data right away. To do that, we're going to go back to our top view because that's where we are doing all this work pretty much. So right about here, below, I'm going to add a function here. I'm going to say private, call this fetch, okay? So all this function is going to do is call this self.forecast view model and search city, just like that. Now, we have the function. Where do we call it? Well, it turns out that we can actually attach this on appear and pass in this method or this function to a view. Looks like we're having issues here. What is this? Looks like we have to actually put this there. Okay. So now we can actually attach this into the on appear view, which is going to be in this view here. So if you look up to the top, this is probably the whole view that we're talking about. So 1, 2, 3. The third, I can go ahead and say dot on appear. Look at that. Okay, we want this on appear, perform something. In this case, we want it to perform the fetch. All we do, we just pass the fetch method like that. Notice we don't have to put the parentheses. We just call the name of the function. So that way it's only called when it needs to be called. That's it. Check this out. Now, if I go save and give it a run, look what's going to happen. It's going to go ahead and show the view, and it knows it has to do something right away, and voila. When it called this perform on appear, when this is ready to appear, call the fetch, which says search city, and we know search city already has the default city, which is Spokane, hence it shows Spokane here. So if I change this to Boston, it's still gonna work like we saw before. But now, if I just get out of the app and run again, notice it's gonna go ahead back to Spokane, and it is indeed what we want to happen. Okay, very good. Let's go back to our mid view here, and we're gonna change this color for our date because it's very mundane. We want something better. So I'm gonna add a foreground color. It's fine. White is what we want, and add a font. I want this to be a system font. I can do that. Add a size of about 15. Okay, and I want this to be bold as well. So save this and give it a run. Should see something a little bit different, hopefully. Very good. That looks much better. And next, because I want to move all of this to the top, I can come down outside of main V stack here, and I'm going to put a spacer. Should hopefully see that all going up a little bit. Very good. This is desirable. It's all the way to the top there. And the next thing I want to do here is actually I want to make sure that this V stack is all a little bit to the left. So I'm going to say padding, and I'm going to add a trailing, right? I'm going to the right. So the padding on the right, which was going to move to the left, of about 100 as such. And I'm going to say frame also. Oops, this has to be comma. And the frame width, I'm just going to give something about 400. So I'm just going to try to make sure that all of this goes to the left a bit. Okay, it's looking good so far. All right, so let's move this way to the left. Maybe 200 is going to do it. You can play around with those numbers if you wish to do so. Okay, that's fine. That will do for now. Okay, very good. So we are making really good progress here, folks. So next, what we're going to do, we are going to add at least most of this middle section here, which should be probably in the mid view, but I'm going to call this current temp view. Okay, so it's going to be this nice icon, of course, all this information there. Okay, let's see how far we can get. So back to views here, right click, new file, SwiftUI, current temp view. And as always, I'm going to put add published or observed, I should say, object, forecast, view model. Very nice. So we have that set up, and get rid of all of this. No need for that. Put a V stack. What's new? An H stack inside as well there to organize our code. Very good. So what I'm going to pass here, let's put a text first. Now this text here, we'll have to pass in the temperature first. So I'm going to say self.forecast view model.temperature, which we haven't created yet. So we're going to go to our forecast view model and we're going to add the temperature. So I'm going to come down here, var temperature, the string to be expected. So if let temp be equal to self forecast list, all right, first that temp that day. So essentially we're going to the list and get this first object and get the temperature of the day. That's all we're doing here, right? Because that would say the temperature of today, even though I know it's part of the forecast, but the first item is of course today. So that's why we're doing this. Okay, and then I'm going to say let formatted string. I'm going to pass a string here and I'm going to format it and pass the actual format. I want it to be at least 1 0 decimal points there and pass temp. Okay, I'm going to return formatted string and I'm going to also append something to our string that would say degrees. I'm going to copy it there and paste. There we go. Just say it's degree. Else, we are going to just return nothing. We don't need that. Save that and go to a content view there. Right outside our VStack, another VStack. And this one, I'm going to have an alignment. I want this to be center. And spacing is going to be about 8. And I need to add content that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, we're going to actually add image icon later. But for now, we are actually going to add the current temp view as such. And of course, as you know, we need to pass the self.forecast view model because it has all the information we want. Okay, let's save this and run. We should be able hopefully to see the current temp. There we go. Says 50. Very small, no problem. At least we know it's working. That's always fun. And back to our temp, let's go ahead and make it more beautiful, if you will. So I'm going to give a font, pass a system size actually of about 40, and give it a foreground color. That's going to be that white. And I want to make this bold. Save and run. We should see something different. And there we go, 50. That looks really good. All right, so we make good progress here. We are seeing our temperature showing for today. In fact, if I change this city to something else, let's say I want Beira again. Spain, España, it's 56. Let's see, Mumbai, India, it's 81 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very hot. There we go. So we are making good progress here. You can put any city you want here. Let's say Rio. BR for Brazil. It's 92 degrees in Rio, Brazil. Oh, that's very hot. Very good, folks. In the next video, we are going to continue putting together the user interface here. And I hope you are getting excited because this is always exciting.